Infineon Raceway couldn't be more delighted to host the first ever TTX GP zero carbon motorcycle race in the United States here in Sonoma. This is a racetrack that prides itself on the way we operate as a business in terms of being a sustainable business, a variety of different things that are part of that whole outlook on the way we operate here. But we also look beyond that. In the whole philosophy of automotive marketing, there is an approach to marketing green vehicles and sustainable vehicles that we think has really not gone to market yet, and that's the whole message of green performance. There are so many different products out there on the market that fulfill people's need for performance in automotive and motorcycle technology, but also have a very delicate footprint on the planet, and that's something that being a racetrack and being one in Northern California, where this is so much a part of the philosophy and the ethos of this market, something that we think we're in a unique position to promote. So it's terrific to have this event, and great to be the first ever.
Well, we just decided we were going to race about a month ago, and really only about 3 weeks ago did we start putting it together. It's based on the Zero S chassis, so it's pretty much a stock chassis with some extra braces on it for the extra battery pack. We have a single Agni motor on it. We went for a very light setup, so we stuck one motor, makes about 36 horsepower and about 100 foot-pounds of torque. And then we took a stock Zero S battery pack, which is about a 4 kilowatt pack, and then added an additional pack to make it a little bit higher voltage system. So we're up to about 5.4 kilowatts now with this setup. It's pretty light. We're just over 300 pounds in the current configuration. It's really fast. The chassis handles really well. It's quick through the corners. For me, I think going the full race distance, we have a limited amount of battery pack, and so we're just trying to work out how much power we can give it right now. We're limiting the controller as it is, just to make the race distance, I think.
We should be able to. We got both the cable and all that.
Yeah, we've been here the last couple of days testing and just trying to learn what the Zero Agni bike's all about. I mean, I've never raced an electric motorcycle before, so it's all new, and there's a lot to be learned. The Zero Agni bike was a combination, a partnership between Agni Motors and Zero Motorcycle Company. Zero Motorcycle Company makes electric street motorcycles in the U.S. here in Santa Cruz, and they this is the bike that Agni raced over at the Isle of Man last year, and I guess it was the race-winning motorcycle. So I was pretty excited to have a chance to ride it, and unfortunately, we haven't had much time with it so far. It just showed up a couple days before we got here, so everyone's scrambling to tear it apart, look at it, and learn what we can do to make it go faster on the racetrack. It has a proven chassis, and we put the traction dynamic front forks on it with a little heavier spring just to deal with the extra weight, and it feels pretty. I feel home on it. It's a little slower in transition just because of the extra weight, but in a few of the corners I felt like I was carrying cornering speed equivalent to a gas-powered bike. So we're a little bit down on power. It's not a real high horsepower bike right now, but the cornering speed is right there with a gas bike.
The chassis is based on a TZ250. It's actually a 2000 TZ250. We tried to keep it as stock looking as possible. The motor's definitely one of the best motors out here. It's an Agni 95 reinforced motor. We run two of them. There's a drive shaft connecting them in the center. Our gearing is a 16 tooth in the front and currently a 50 in the back. Probably a top speed of 120, I'm guessing. you know, on the back straightaway here. Well, we'd like to improve the consumption of energy. We'd also like to improve the speed, and those are kind of two opposites, so we're working with it.
A lot of people ask me whether or not they think electric motorcycles are the wave of the future. To me, it's an expansion of the sport. It's not a replacement to my Norton Commando, a touring bike, or a sport bike. It's something different. The reason that we thought an antique bike might be competitive was that back in the 60s, you might have been lucky to have had 50 horsepower and very lucky to have 120 foot-pounds of torque. So we didn't feel like you needed big wide tires when all you were dealing with is 50 horsepower. Of course, it won't be long before that'll be double, but for right now, I think our chassis is competitive. I have no background in engineering. I don't know anything about electricity. I live on a sheep farm in the least populated county east of the Mississippi. We drove all the way from Bluegrass, Virginia here, almost 3,000 miles to be in this event. And so we really haven't had a clue what we were doing, but we found people to help us, and I'm pretty proud just to be here. And if we can make top 3 or 4, that's pretty good.
As recently as last October, this bike was at Bonneville, and in a timed mile did 166.388 miles per hour at about 65% of power. Then we ran out a weekend, so we'll be back. This is our first attempt on the track. We've already been timed at between 91 miles an hour and 130 miles an hour on this track, which I mention only because it's about the same speeds as internal combustion engine bikes. And what we're interested in here is not necessarily winning. We're all interested in finishing the race in front of fans who don't understand electric bikes. And we believe that if the fans in our world actually see these things go fast, as quiet as they are, they may come to understand how wonderful they are. We don't believe that electricity is enough. They have to be competitive with internal combustion machines. And I think this weekend will prove that.
We feel electric revolution is here, especially as battery technology, especially as electric motor technology gets better and better. Why not be part of it? TTX GP, it's perfect time to showcase what we can do and where we want to go. I see a Moore's law to batteries. Think of twice the power, half the size, a lot less cost. That's what's happening right now. Think what will happen in 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years. The technology we use for this vehicle is something we've been scrounging together, as well as working with Ohio State University Center for Automotive Research a lot. They do amazing research there, and the professors have really helped us along. We're the only ones with a transmission here, so through a CVT on here, continuously variable transmission. We're trying to get a hold of as many people as possible. We're tapping as many intellectual minds as possible to make this happen.
I guess we got into the electric bikes just because it's something different, it's interesting, and it's definitely a technology that's needed for the future. You know, the amount of media that has come about because of this particular event is huge. And, you know, we're seeing people who never cared about a motorcycle before in their life who are now interested in this event, particularly because it's all electric and zero emissions. And really, we're coming out here to show that electric bikes are competing with gas bikes. It's only getting better. The prices are coming down slowly. It's interesting constructing a bike like this because there is no industry standard. There's no right way to do it. Most of the components that are available are just from different companies, and essentially we had to do tons of testing just to make all the components work together and, you know, find out the best possible outcome. The best part about this bike is that once we get done with the track, take the race fairings off, plug the lights back in, and it's back to street legal. So we'll be riding it around after the race.
It sits flat, right? Yeah. Get one. Let's see if we get
I love racing, and I love the fact that we can do what we want to do for fun, be as fast as we can be on ICE motorcycles, internal combustion engines, and not pollute the environment at the same time, so it's great. And with electric motorcycles, we probably won't have all these problems anymore, so we can race motorcycles and nobody's going to get pissed off about it. Traditionally, environmentalists and motorcycles are like two opposite camps, and maybe the electric motorcycles are going to get us all together and work together, having fun and not destroy the environment at the same time.
Ooh, that's bad. Let's get at least a piece of wood or something to put between the wrenches. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Well, we see our electric bikes getting ready to make their way onto the pre-grid lane, and I think it's appropriate at this time that we give you a rundown of who these people are and where they can be found. Stand by, in about another 30 seconds, we'll do exactly that here at Infineon Raceway. All right, folks, so we are told that from a standing start, and the 2x2x2 rows we see, they are going to be getting right at it. No warm-up lap, we're just going to get right to racing. So again, TTX GP coming up next. These will be an 11-lap feature. Here is your field rundown. At the back of the grid, in 10th position, you're going to find the number 18 machine from Prill Motors. That is Zoe Rem. Next to Zoe, on bike number 16, the Square Wave Motorsports squad, representing bike number 16, that is John Wild. To our next row, on the Workstart Racing machine, number 23, Jennifer Brom, and running at that row, the K-Squared Racing bike of number 14, Kenyon Klug. To our next row, we're going to find the electricmotorsport.com machine, that's number 20, our own Jason Loritzen. And running out that row on the Volt Motors squad, number 19, Spencer Smith. We now go to row 2, Team Electra. That's number 37 on a 1966 Featherbed Norton, Thad Wolf. And running at that row on the electric race bikes machine, number 15, Mike Hannes. Now to our front row. On the outside, we call it the Flying Banana. The Lightning Motorcycles Incorporated machine, number 80, Michael Barnes. And on the pole, a beautifully painted blue and silver machine, number 22, sponsored by and in part built by Zero Agni. That is Sean Higby. Well, that is the grid set, folks. Again, this will be 11 laps of action. Giving the thumbs up and a wave to our friend there towards the latter half of the grid on the black, red, and white number 28 picked at number 20 machine. That, of course, Jason Loritzen. He is a local AFM racer. There's a lot of great talent out here, folks. And I want to tell you, for those that did not know, this is their first ever we will see electric bikes racing in the United States. It is indeed an historic event. A very unique grid alignment, the 2x2x2. We don't normally see that. We see rows of 4, but again, this is unique racing as well. And so they indeed have their own brand of starting things. This is going to be some exciting racing. We're very, very interested to see them go. You got to wonder, the racers that are on the front row of the grid are having to look straight up at the flag stand. They're not going to use the lights to indicate when it's time to go, so they have to be looking straight up at that flag before it drops. Well, they are clearing the grid. It looks like our racers are about ready to get started. Ladies and gentlemen, Infineon Raceway, stand by for racing. Green, 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 and away we go in a jackrabbit start by number 80, Michael Barnes, as Thad Wolf on bike number 37 is in hot pursuit. The guy that got the worst end of that deal was indeed going to be number 22, Sean Higby, who started on the pole and gets into turn 1 in 4th position. Very, very interesting start to see that. Probably the most unique thing is you couldn't hear a single one of them. The most quiet machines I've ever seen here at Infineon as our leaders head to turn 3.
Yeah, Higby's closing in there. He's obviously a better racer. He just overtook. He's in 3rd place already, and he's already closing in on 2. But their Flying Banana, number 8, he's heading them about 8 or 9 bike lengths ahead as they go around 4 and into 5, Brian.
They're down into 5 right now, and that Flying Banana definitely has a very good lead, but they're moving and shaking behind him. Maybe a battle for second there into 6, and yes, there's a pass on the inside.
Yeah, that's Higby taking second now, and he goes in pursuit of that yellow banana, and Higby was, I think, by far the fastest with the practice round, so I think we'll see him overtaking the Flying Banana shortly.
Right, he just shaved that lead of the Flying Banana in half, but it looks like that yellow bike there had some get up and go down that rear straight there. They're in turn 7 right now, tipping it in. We mentioned yesterday that these do not have the clearance. The actual hard parts do scrape a lot earlier into the turn than their counterparts driven by engines. And they're now down into 8.
Yeah, you notice Higby really closed in on the exit to 7 there, and then number 80 bike just accelerated away from him as they went to 8. And look at Higbee close right up again as they go into the 9s. David.
And a great battle for both first position and third position as Higbee almost makes contact with Michael Barnes. But what an advantage that Michael Barnes' machine has. A lot more torque coming out of that machine as they were neck and neck for just a moment. But Barnes twisted that throttle rearward and away he got. So a great battle for first position and another very good one for third as they all come out of the turn 11 hairpin and down the front straightaway for the first time. So the running order is bike number 80, that is Michael Barnes. Then number 22, Sean Higbee. Then you're going to find number 37, Thad Wolf, followed by number 15, Mike Hannes on the electric bike race bikes bike. You know, as I look at that bike, number 15 head to turn 1, Richard, that looks a lot like a Yamaha TZ250 frame.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is, David, and that's a great handling frame, so we'll see how he does. But I am so impressed with Michael Barnes' acceleration. I mean, Sean Higbee definitely has the cornering speed to catch back up, but that yellow banana squirts.
It sure does. It sure does. I got to get a sponsorship from Chiquita or Dole or something before this is all over. Jason Laritzen on bike number 20. He cruises through in 5th position at the moment, but in the meantime, things are not quieting down one bit as our leaders
Here we go,
make their way.
Top of 6, look for the pass there. And
yeah, there goes Higbee around the outside of the leader, so Higbee goes into the lead, and you see him come out of the bottom of 6 there, Brian.
Yep, and that yellow banana, I'm sure, will make up that time here on the back straight as they make their way into 7. Yep, that banana, that yellow bike, may pass in the 7, not quite there yet, but made up a ton of time as they go into the 7s.
It is completely clear that Higbee has the handling advantage as when it comes to the tight stuff. Bike number 22, the blue and silver machine, gets away. It's interesting. Higbee keeps looking over his shoulder, wondering when number 80, Michael Barnes on that yellow bike, is going to get close, and he's doing it right now. We saw Higbee come through the carousel going down into turn 6, and he scraped a couple times as it's a drag race over the wheelie bump and now down into turn 9. Barnes hard on the brake on that yellow machine. He flicks the bike to the right, now to the left. Higbee stays right with him, but watch the drag race as they come out of turn into turn 10. Boy, look at Barney go on that yellow machine. Richard Oliver, that is something.
Oh, Michael Barnes is doing a great job. I mean, he just doesn't have the cornering speed that Higbee does, but anytime there's a straightaway, Michael just goes right by.
Oh, what a pass going into turn 11. Higbee put his nose underneath Barnes going to 11, but it did not matter as Barnes twists the throttle backward on that machine. You know a little bit about that yellow bike. It is using the same motor that was in one of those Saturn EV1 electric cars they made back in 1991, and those put a boatload of horsepower to the ground, so no doubt straight line speed, no contest for Barney as he is just twisting that throttle to the back and knows he can pick off people at will.
Yeah, he's just extending the lead between 2 and 3 there, and then Higbee just tips it in and catches up by the time they exit from 3A, and he's all over the back of Barnes as they go into 4 right now. Well, I'm sure Barnes will open that throttle again. Then we got the lightweight Norton come through 3 as well, so there are 4 or 5 bikes really battling here, which is all good fun.
Anyone that thought that this was going to be a boring race
They're
is completely
side by
out of their
side
mind.
into 6, folks. Side by side, and it looks like...
yeah, Higbee's in front there. You'll see him popping out in a second. He's got that 5 or 6 bike lengths again. We'll just see if Barnes can twist the throttle and overtake him again.
You know, a couple of things about these bikes really quick as we watch the drag races between Barnes and Higbee continue. Remember, folks, these bikes do not have a transmission. It is one gear. The transmission is all in the wrist. And think of the throttle like a dimmer switch at your house. When you first click the switch on, the light's kind of dim. The more you turn it up, the more bright the light becomes. That's how these bikes operate for the most part. And that's how the throttle operates. So it's an amazing torque curve, to say the least, as we watch our Raiders make their way through the S's.
They definitely go for the pass there. He's getting like 18 bike lengths down. That's incredible.
Down into turn 9, Barney continues to lead Sean Higbee. Higbee is able to whip that bike at will around Barney, but watch Barney twist the throttle and go right back around Higbee. I'm telling you, as I said a moment ago, anyone that thought this would not be competitive or fun is out of their mind as Higbee looks for a moment to get to the inside of Barnes coming to the corner. Higbee sticks a nose underneath, but Barnes looks behind and says, no, thank you. I'm going to flick the light switch this time, and heads down the front straightaway to complete another lap.
Yeah, so much fun, David. He's tipping it into 1 there, and then we'll watch Higbee as he comes up the hill into 2. That corner speed is almost double. You can see the way he goes through 9. He closes down on him and just flicks it round the outside. And Higbee just keeps closing in and closing in and closing in. And number 80 just twists that throttle between 2 and 3 and grabs another 4 or 5 bike lengths as they go up into 3A. And this is where Higbee really catches them, the 4, 5, 6 combination.
Yeah, anywhere on this track that requires any type of handling, obviously Higbee has the advantage there, but that yellow bike with just an all-out straight horsepower just motoring past on any straight.
Yeah, I think we see Tad Wolf actually just pulled to the side up the hill, coming towards 2. He's just pushing the bike in. There doesn't seem to be any problem with the rider, so we'll get you an update on that in a second.
Oh, tough break. That's number 37, Thad Wolf, former 250 Grand Prix and I should also say Superbike competitor in the late 70s and early 80s. Also, Thad Wolf, a new racer school instructor for one of the clubs in Southern California. Unfortunately, that number 37 Featherbed Norton machine with a mechanical problem. I will say this. I had spoken to that squad throughout the weekend, and they had indicated they had been battling heat, which, by the way, is the big villain when it comes to these electric bikes. The more heat, the less power, and they've been trying to fiddle with a few different things.
Higbee just went past on the inside, and he's pushing it down. Look at the side-to-side racing in turn 9, ladies and gentlemen. We're watching the bike is going to go flying past him in a 10 again. He has no answer for the power on that 80 bike.
Very good call, Alan, and lots of competition still happening between those two machines. So again, tough break for the number 37 squad, and Thad Wolf, as Higbee goes for a bonsai move around the outside of turn 11, but it just took a moment for Barnes to whip that throttle backward again. They are now starting to encounter some slower traffic up ahead as we've completed lap number 4 and are working lap 5. Yes, Richard?
I was just going to say that Michael Barnes actually starting to corner a lot faster. I think he was kind of taking it easy on the tires a little bit. He's starting to find the limit of the number 80 bike, and I think the limit's a little higher than where he started this race. Sean Higbee's got his work cut out for him now.
We got a battle in the 8s right now as well. Up here, I'm looking at this battle. It looks like we had an overtaking here. These two bikes now exiting 8.
You know, as I look a little bit further back, unless my eyes deceive me, third place currently going to number 15, Mike Hanna, aboard the electric race bikes machine. But coming up quickly, number 20, Jason Luritzen on the electricmotorsports.com machine, the black, white, and red. They're coming right across start finish now. Luritzen was never on an electric bike before. This bike got to the track yesterday. They completely missed practice on Friday. They missed half of practice yesterday, barely qualified, and Luritzen is really coming to grips with that machine quickly and is in hot pursuit of Hanna's just in front.
Yeah, David, if you watch Jason riding his R6 around here, him and Greg McCulloch are a fantastic pair of riders for the Z2 racing team, and he really knows how to ride around this track. And I just noticed in the past 2 laps, he's getting way more confident on that bike, especially the entry to 3 and the exit to 3A. So I think he's going to catch up there as long as the bike stays together. They were having some, as you say, electrical gremlins yesterday. It looks like they've got a hold of those, and the bike's performing really well.
Certainly worthy of mention. Another battle to watch between number 19, Spencer Smith, and number 14, Kenyon Klug. Those two in a battle for what I believe would be 5th or 6th position. They came down the front straightaway a moment ago after swapping spots in turn 11. And interestingly enough, for one of the first times, it appears that Higbee is going to lead through turn number 11, and Barnes is going to have to watch. Now let's see if Barnes goes for a pass on the front straightaway. Look at the speed on that yellow machine. You know, Rich, I'm watching that. That speed is very close to some of these 600cc machines we've seen in a straight line.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, we were impressed when we first saw that bike come out in practice, and we went, oh, that one really moves. So Michael Barnes making the most of it, but right now Sean Higbee finding all kinds of new places to increase his cornering speed.
Alan, they're coming to you in turn 3.
Yeah, Higbee took a look at doing a pass in 2, but Barnes just opened the throttle again and left them over about 14 bike lengths. They're just exiting from 3A right now. Looks like Higbee's taking a look up the inside into 4, but I think what will happen is they'll do that pass again in 6. Yeah, Barnes doesn't seem to be anywhere near as confident or as fast going around 6, and Higbee always seems to take him on the outside, and then we get, there he goes on the inside this time on Higbee's in the lead now on Barnes. By the time they come out the bottom, probably got about 10, 12 bike lengths on the second bike, and then he just opens the throttle on that 80, and by the time they get to turn 7, what's happening over there, Brian?
Yeah, so basically he's coming out about 4 seconds ahead at the beginning of that straight into 7. but then that yellow bike with its power is able to make up that time quite a bit. Although I say that, this lap, not nearly as much time was made up then. I think he's really coming into his own, and we'll see what they can do down here on this straight down into 9.
We watch Higbee now with what appears to be a sizable lead, and I'm almost reluctant to use that term because it's the largest gap we've seen. But here comes Barney, hard on the brakes going into turn 9. Right now, it's all Higbee out of turn 9, and he's going to flick that bike now to the right to go the sweeping right-hander. Turn 10, and Barnes looks over his shoulder and looks like he might have a mechanical problem, as he was sitting up on the bike, almost taking his time, wondering, A, is anyone near me? B, is there a problem with the machine? It looks like he's still underway. It does not appear that he's going to enter the pit lane. He's going to continue on by. The cross flags are out at start finish. Halfway down between this 11 lap race. So I believe it will be 5 laps left to go for Sean Higbee and Michael Barnes. Meanwhile, the battle for third continues to heat up between number 15, Hannes, and number 20, Jason Lauritzen. Lauritzen really coming to the grips with that number 20 electricmotorsports.com machine and has been chasing down Hannes lap after lap. It may just be a matter of time before Lauritzen can make the pass, but so far, and I hope I'm not jinxing this is as long as number 20's bike has lasted that we've seen thus far. In any event, those two come down into turn 9. The white machine is going to be Hannes. We've got the red machine, which is a lapper in between, and then there is number 20, which will be Lauritzen coming out of turn 9. So the gap has remained the same throughout as we continue to watch action around the track.
We have a good action here in turn 7 right now, a 3-way battle up in 7. I'm not sure what position that's for, but all 3 of those bikes look pretty well matched. So they're dicing through 7 as they enter into 8. So they go through the 8s and they space them out just a little bit, but I'd imagine they're going to be hacking at it again at the bottom of 9. I'm wondering about that yellow bike as well, because it just doesn't seem like it's squirting off the corners like it used to. I wonder, kind of like tire management, if you need to have some sort of power management and really manage the power and that acceleration as the race continues.
Well, as you mentioned that, we see number 20, Jason Lauritzen, go by start finish, and he is certainly at a reduced rate of speed. But as I say that, just screaming down into turn number 9 is number 22, Higbee. That bike is on rails. Remember that program for kids back in the day called the Electric Company? Higbee ought to be a star on that thing. They had to revise that, and it was all playing the part right now because Higbee is electric with light and neon as he comes out of turn number 11, as he has completely gotten away from Michael Barnes now and is all by himself in first position. Higbee carrying monster speed coming down the hill into turn 9 earlier.
Looks like Jason Lauritzen is going to go for a pass on that number 18 bike in front of him there. They're going to turn 4 and coming out 5. It's actually quite like watching slow motion replay of like a superbike race. Jason came right up behind the bike.
Jason's looking really good as he goes into 6. He made up a ton of time on that bike in front of him.
You know, we just saw Michael Barnes come across straight finish. Unless I'm seeing things, Richard, it looks like he's up to speed. Can you detect anything?
Yeah, no, I would agree with you, David. Michael Barnes had a bad lap there where he slowed down. He wasn't accelerating as hard. This time by, he looked fine, so might be back on it. Let's see if he
with
can
the
catch up.
move into 7. So Jason able to make the pass into 7. That bike is performing very well, especially with the gremlins they had. He was on and off all yesterday. They made quite a few modifications last night, including gearing as well. So it looks like all the changes they made are paying off today.
Yeah, I'm sure Jason's getting a lot more comfortable with that bike now too. We're going to have as Barnes comes down in a 6 and tilts around there. Our leader, I think, is on his way up to 7 right now, so there's quite a gap between first and second, and they're coming into some of the back traffic, and we've got like 2 laps to go, I believe.
Okay, well, as the laps continue to wind down, here's the running order thus far. It is number 22, Sean Higbee on the Zero Agni machine out in front, followed by number 80, Michael Barnes, brought to you by the good folks at Lightning Motorcycles Incorporated. Number 15, Mike Hannes on the electric race bikes entry is in 3rd. Then we go to Jason Lauritzen on bike 20 in 4th position. That much we know. I believe number 19, Spencer Smith on the Volt Motors bike is holding down 5th. We'll confirm that here shortly. In the meantime, Sean Higbee continues to dominate. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, playing it like an electric piano. And continues around. We should be seeing the white flag sometime soon here as they come across start-finish. But things very, very interesting in this race. And Michael Barnes slowing dramatically coming out of turn 9 and going into turn 10. Again, he sits up for a moment, almost as if he's making an adjustment before he's able to get started again. So I don't know quite what the story is there, but he's still managing to make it through.
Well, it's so interesting, David, that Sean Higbie started out so slowly and has worked his way up steadily, like he's been turning up the knob.
Oh, here's news. Here's news. There is the flying banana, and it's not so flying now as Michael Barnes, bike 80, is just coasting across start finish. People are cheering him on, and he's trying to make an adjustment or two. It looks like that bike is not under power, so to speak. I don't know if there's an electronic gremlin, if it's just run out of juice, or what the problem is. He is still on the track on what would be considered rider's left as you head towards him, and he is just about to come to a stop before he enters turn 1. Not quite sure what the officials are saying at this point about that. He's taking a good look at the bike. He has 1 foot down, keeping that bike still up on 2 wheels. He continues to make adjustments underneath the windscreen at the front of the fairing. Hard to say right now, gentlemen, hard to say.
I've seen that happen a couple of times this weekend to that bike, especially in turn 2. It did it twice, and he kind of sat there for a couple of minutes. I don't know if it's an overheating problem, and then after a couple of minutes got started again and shut off. So I don't know if there's an overheating problem they have with that bike, or if it's another electrical gremlin like Jason had. But when we were speaking to Jason's wife last night, Jen Lauritsen, she was saying there's lots of switches that are just where the triple clamp usually is. So if you see them sitting up like that, it's probably because they're trying to adjust some of those switches, David.
Well, as our leaders, or our leader, I should say, heads into turn 12, Sean Higbie now passes, who is currently in 3rd position. Sean Higbie on bike 22 just now passed our 3rd position rider, number 15, Mike Hannes. That is how well Higbie is going. And just as I say that, it appears that Michael Barnes is back underway. So I don't know if Michael Barnes just wanted someone to ride with again or not, and he was waiting for Higbie to come back around. Really kind of odd. We're going to continue to follow that, but it appears everyone back underway.
Yeah, he's now tipping it into turn 3 and reduced power, but I can tell he's still getting through there pretty quickly, so hopefully he'll be able to finish out this race.
Yeah, Higbie's closing on him though. So as they go down in Higbie's just coming around 3 and out of 3A right now as Barnes goes into 5. So I'm going to think that Higbie's going to catch him around 6 again, and that's where Higbie's been passing him the whole race.
If any of you have had a chance to get on over to that Team Zero Racing pit to take a look at any of those bikes, Sean Higbie's bike uses these twin motors on either side of the machine. At first glance, it reminds you of what some of the older BMW machines look like, and that thing puts out some monster power as it handles beautifully. It's on a GSX-R 750 Suzuki chassis, so that probably explains some of the good handling characteristics. As we watch now on the screen provided by Speed Channel, we see Michael Barnes making his way into that turn 7-8 area, and here comes Higbie attempting to put a lap on 2nd place right now.
I don't know, it looks like that yellow bike now has plenty more power. It squirted out of 6 into 7. Look for him down into 9. I think, again, he's going to get on the power and go, but Higbie's right all over him.
Down into turn 9, here comes Higbie putting a nose underneath Barnes and makes the pass. Oh, Barnes started to turn in, and at the last moment, Higbie showed a wheel, and wisely, Barnes backed off of it. Now, when we saw this before, Barnes would twist the throttle and just cruise right by through turn number 10, but Richard, not the case this time.
No, it's not. Higbie's bike is a lot faster now, so some adjustments may have been made with that machine, and it's definitely accelerating now.
White flag is out at start-finish. The white flag is out at start-finish for Sean Higbie as we throw it up to our friend Brian Davis in turn 8.
Yeah, just a little word. You notice out there, Jason Lauritsen's not out there anymore. They had a little bit of an overheating problem. He pitted. They are now dousing the bike with water over the batteries to get that heat down so he can get back out there.
Unbelievable. So again, heat is the gremlin, folks, and for those of you that aren't aware, and as we speak of it, here comes Lauritsen now exiting the pre-grid area for the electric bikes. He's coming across start-finish right now and will get the white flag, so he will at least finish, we hope. Again, heat is the monster. Any of you that have used, I don't know, a blender, a vacuum cleaner, any kind of electric motor, the more current you put through, and the hotter it gets. And the hotter something gets, the more it loses juice, and it's not as efficient. And that's the big thing that these electric bikes have to grapple with. So having said that, we're continuing to follow our leader, that being number 22, Higbie. He makes his way through the carousel in turn 6 and heads up to turn 7 momentarily. Allen in turn 3.
Well, I think what you saw with Higbee was the classic tortoise and the hare. They did this strategy. He set off at a certain pace, and I think what happened with Barnes is Barnes kind of chewed up all his electricity, twisting that throttle, which must have been really exciting just to fly by your competitor. But in the long run, it looked like Higbee's strategy paid off, and I think if we looked at his lap times, we don't have the electronic timing and scoring, but I could almost guarantee you his lap times were very, very consistent all the way throughout this race, David.
Very, very good point there, Alan, for certain, as our leader makes his way into turn 9 for the final time. All right, now a left. He's going to twist that throttle one more time as he sweeps through turn number 10, and we'll head to the paperclip, I like to call it, the hairpin at the end of the raceway. That's turn 11, as we have a bike down at the top going into the entrance to turn 3. Alan, can you see up there?
No, don't see anything from this angle at the moment.
It's probably out of your eyesight. I think it was exiting turn 2. In the meantime, here is Higbee with a hand in the air. Sean Higbee will take the first ever TTX Grand Prix race on American soil on that Zero Agni number 22 machine. Here comes Michael Barnes on bike number 80, the Lightning Motorcycles Incorporated. We call it the Flying Banana. Bike 80 finishing in 2nd position. And I do believe we are then going to wait for bike 15, Mike Hanna's, on the electric race bikes entry to cross in 3rd position. Well, Richard, I've got to get down to Wine Country Victory Circle to do post-race interviews. I'm going to throw it to you. Wow, what an exciting electric bike race for sure.
Yeah, thanks very much, David. Congratulations to Sean Higbee. Fine ride there. Well-paced, as Alan was saying, with the electrical usage and the tortoise and the hare and the fast and the slow. Well, it reversed towards the end there. I feel bad for Michael Barnes because he was making a great effort trying to fight back with horsepower, although it wouldn't be really horsepower, would it? So that was really exciting. Michael Hannes, I'm wondering if Michael Hannes actually finished 2nd, because Michael Hannes on the 250 chassis, I thought he went by Barnes when Barnes was sitting still. So we'll have to find out the official finishing order, but all in all, a fantastic job. Brian, up to you in turn 8.
Yeah, so they're taking their cool down lap. Looks like, I'm not sure if that's Higbee over in 7 minutes that's pulled off. Oh no, that's Clue out there in 7. So he just pulled off. Maybe he's having some overheat issues as well. He was limping around there.
Yeah, we got that one bike down just on the exit of 3. They just wheeled it over the hill, so I'm not sure on numbers.
Well, this is what we call the yeoman effort down here. Finishing the race on human power is what we have to do with our final competitor here, but a great effort by everybody with the electric bikes and the TTX GP. When we first saw practice, we had a few bikes out. They kept getting more and more bikes on the track, and I'll tell you what, that race was fantastic. So I want to congratulate you guys over on the far side of the pit area there, in your own pit area. Very nicely done, and we really enjoyed watching that historic race here at Infineon Raceway. Yeah, I just wanted to mention Sean Higbee is doing a giant burnout in pit lane behind the tents. That's the first electric burnout I have ever seen in my life, and that is a huge cloud of smoke. That looks absolutely awesome. If you're on the far end of the grandstands, you are being covered with tire smoke. I mean, it is just boiling around that bike right now. Lots of cameras out. He's sitting in the smoke. Sean, that's not really good for your lungs, dude. You need to let that smoke move on. Fantastic show by Sean Higbee, our winner. Well, Higbee's still painting a stripe down pit lane, doing a little bit of abstract art with his rear tire down through the pits. He's even doing burnouts over the electrical cords that are going from the pit wall to the generator, so I'm not sure if the teams are too happy with that. But now Higbee's on his way down to you, David K., for the winner's circle. You can kind of follow the smoke and see where Sean Higbee is. All right, let's go down to David K. in our winner's circle with our 3 finishers.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a weekend full of historic events. We're making another one today. The first ever race on American soil, TTX Grand Prix. A round of applause for everyone, please. We're going to start off in 3rd position. Riding the electric race bikes entry number 15, Mike Hannas. Mike, all I can say is that's some of the most interesting racing I've ever seen. Tell us about your race.
Interesting. You should try riding one.
I've been told. Give us a little insight to what it's like to turn a lap on one of these machines.
Oh, it's really awesome. You don't have any noise, so you can really think about what you're doing. You can hear all the fans yelling out there, which is really cool. and it's just a lot of fun.
The number 80 machine from Lightning Motorcycles Incorporated. We've heard this name before at Infineon. It is Michael Barnes. Michael, you and Sean with quite a dice. They're back and forth for a number of laps.
Yeah, we had quite different machines that were racing against each other with, and you know, Sean could just get through the corners a lot better than me, and I could just zip past him on the straightaways with my Lightning motorcycle. This thing is so fast, it's incredible. I mean, I broke the tire loose more than once. You know, coming off a 2 and coming off a 3B, it kept me on my toes the whole time.
And now we're going to bring to the stage on the Zero Agni number 22 machine, a gentleman that we've seen running the AMA last year and many years before. It is Sean Higby. Sean, you and Michael, you're quick in the tight stuff. He would get to a straightaway, he'd fly by you like one of those electric high-speed trains. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah, I think Mike and I were sizing each other up all practice session and qualifying. We figured it'd be coming down to a good race, and it's two different strategies. You know, you've got weight and battery power and handling combination all mixed together. So it was interesting to see such diversity out there, and I mean, the Zero Agni electric motorcycle performance exceeded my expectations. It's my first time racing on the bike, obviously, first time in the U.S., and it's an amazing bike. I'm really excited for the future of electric bike racing, and I'm very happy to be proud of it.
Sean, we are very proud to be the host of the first ever TTX GP Zero Carbon motorcycle race, and you'll always be able to say you were the first one that won the very first one. So congratulations. The green performance that we had an exhibition of was just outstanding. Thank you very much for being part of it.
Yeah, so thank you very much. I really appreciate TTX GP and Infineon for hosting this event. And I want to dedicate this first race win to my girlfriend, Marianne. Sorry she can't be here, but she's my soulmate, my true love, and I really miss her. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a historic weekend here at Infineon Raceway. Once again, a big, huge round of applause for the first ever TTX GP on American soil. Mike Hanna's getting ready to pop that cork. Michael Barnes knows a thing or two about this, as does Sean Higby. Oh, and there goes Barney giving the business to his team owner. Here comes Higby spraying the Agni team and the Zero Gravity team, as does Hanna's. Fantastic. What a way to do it. Spraying the fans, giving everyone a little bit of the business.
We got an 8th, but we had the fourth fastest lap time, which is pretty good. Our motor overheated, so we had to go into the pits and pour a bunch of water on it, cool it off to finish the race. We weren't able to get as much practice time as we wanted. All the induction motors that raced today, they all had a similar problem with the encoders coming loose. But now that we know what it is, we're ready for the next race, so it should be good.
We decided we'd do some stress testing.
Yeah, it's race testing for sure.
We realized we were only going to get 4th place, so we had to, do some extra testing.
We told him to take out another rider, and he just missed. He's got really bad aim. He said, cue the crash.
I think we've learned a lot, and we'll move on from here and go with the full redesign and hopefully show up at the next race and finish. Essentially, we have proof of concept. We came out here with a $15,000 machine and put it up against a $60,000 machine and gave them a run for their money. So I'm proud of that, at least.
I think it went absolutely excellent. I had a problem, the bike cut out right after the start, pulling in too much amps, and I got stuck right after the first corner. I said there were about 30 seconds before I was able to reboot it, and then I had a job to do. I got a few people in, and I finished in 4th. I caught everybody I could catch, and I'm really happy about it.
We had a little problem today. In fact, it was an extremely small problem, and we were running 3rd when this tiny screw came out, and we were picking up speed. Looked like we were going to have a successful day and be on the podium. but that screw kept us out of it, and it's
there it is.
really disappointing.
Now begins for the second half of this doubleheader weekend.